Okay. Welcome everybody to our Sukkah Shir. We're taking a break from Maseches Psochim and talking about something a little bit more relevant to now. Sukkahs tomorrow night. Eretz Hashem will be all sitting in the Sukkah. Hopefully Sukkah's Or Shel Livyosan. I wish in the real good Sukkah of Mashiach with all the hostages and everybody. Be'ezus Hashem will be back home under one sukkah. As we'll see later in Shir, the entire Klal Yisrael should be able to sit under one sukkah. That's what the Gemara says in Daf Chav Zayin Hamud Beis in Sukkah. The entire Klal Yisrael should be able to sit in one sukkah, which halachically means, says the Shulchan Aruch, that the width of your sukkah is endless. The sukkah has no maximum shiur, only minimum of 7 tefachim by 7 tefachim, but the maximum you can sit in a humongous sukkah where everybody can fit in. This is one of the ideas we're going to mention later on. This shir, like all my shiurim, is Le'ilu Nishmas, my father, Menachem ben Akiva, and for the quick release of the hostages, and for the end of the war, Be'ezus Hashem, Atzlocha V'rocha to all Eden all over the world, England, America, Israel, and everywhere else, for the quick Yeshua of Malchut Chedmat Ada. We are going to have a shir today, Be'ezus Hashem, with some chizuk, hashkafic ideas. I'm telling you in advance, I'm going to stand on the soapbox a little bit, and we're going to have a lot of fun. Be'ezus Hashem. Let's start with Maseches Avodah Zarah. Maseches Avodah Zarah, it's okay, you didn't have to bring your own copies from home. There's a famous Gemara in Maseches Avodah Zarah, the beginning of the Masechta. The Gemara describes what's going to be when Mashiach comes. La'osed Lavoi, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will take his Sefer Torah in his hands, whatever that means, and he'll say, whoever was Mekayim, whoever fulfilled the mitzvahs of the Torah should deserve Sachar. And funnily enough, all the Goyim are going to come and claim that they deserve Sachar because they were Mekayim the Torah. Everybody from Hollywood, San Francisco, Vatican, Mecca, Gaza, New Delhi, Beijing, Tokyo. Yeah, they're all going to come and claim that they were Mekayim the Torah. I can see the eyebrows, shooting up. So the pshat is, why were they Mekayim the Torah? Because really, when every Goy was, the Romans, the Gemara talks about it there, when Goy built bridges, any bridge, any road, any technical, physical advancement in the world, from computer to internet to roads to phones, whatever, it's really all for Klal Yisrael. So agrees, the Briskerov explains that the reason why the Goyim will be able to say such utter nonsense, l'choira, is because deep down there is something in what they're saying. It is true that the internet was created for Torah. Well, obviously, there was not their intention, and that's what Hashem is going to answer. Hashem's famous answer is, no, it was not your intention. You did not do it for Klal Yisrael. What you did was, I'm sorry?
To collect tolls.
Exactly. You built roads to collect tolls. You built marketplaces to put prostitutes. It gets that whatever clear. You did everything just for your own selves. You created bathhouses to just pleasure yourselves. You did everything just for yourselves, not for the Jews. Okay, that's the first part of the story. So the Goyim, by some kind of fluke, the Goyim, what they did was really for us. That will be the emes. Really, the internet was there for Torah anytime, and Kol HaLashon and Esha Torah and other shiurim. Yeah, and they go and claim, so we deserve sachar, we deserve reward. And Hashem will tell them, that wasn't your kavanah, that wasn't your intention. So then, what are the Goyim going to say? And we're moving now to the actual text of the Gemara. So they will claim, and they say, give us a chance. That's very 2025 thing to say. We never really had a chance, this very Western kind of idea that it's society's fault, it's Hashem's fault. We didn't get a chance. So give us another chance. So Hashem, in His great mercy, will give them a chance. They'll say, give us one more mitzvah to do, and then we'll think about it. I'll give you one more chance. That's very, very nice of Hashem. And then which mitzvah will Hashem give them to try them out, to try and give them some sachar in Olam Haba? I'm quoting, Afal Picha mitzvah kala yesh lev, one easy mitzvah to do, the Sukkah Shmo, it's an easy mitzvah. So go sit in the Sukkah. Says the Gemara, why do you call mitzvah an easy mitzvah, a Sukkah an easy mitzvah? To build a Sukkah is not so easy, it takes you time. Oh, this is a point we're going to talk about. Sukkah does not cost you money. Pashat Pshat of Chesel and Kismis, Sukkah, you're not kilu emptying the pocket. It's not, you're not missing anything, any l'choira financial loss by sitting in the Sukkah, just have to sit there and enjoy yourselves. And the goyim say, okay, that's cool, shukran, we'll do that. Miyad kol echad v'chanot el v'elch v'yoseh Sukkah b'rosh gagoy. Each and every goy, from Beijing to San Francisco to New York to Rio de Janeiro to Vatican, everybody, to Slough, everywhere, Slough, very nice place in London, 25% Muslim, So Bekitza, everyone will go up to the roof, and it was 25% 2 minutes ago, so now it's 50%. So now each one will build a sukkah on the top of the roof. Very nice, so far so good. They have a chance. HaKadosh Baruch Hu makder lemchama b'tkufas Tammuz. The Kadosh Baruch Hu will make sure that it gets very hot. Each and every goy it's too hot there, no air condition there, it's hot in the sukkah, they'll get out of the game very quickly, they'll kick the sukkah and get out. And then, says the Kadosh Baruch Hu, okay, you lost the game. They had one chance. And the questions are many. Question number one, why is sukkah, out of all mitzvahs, the mitzvah that was chosen to test the goyim? Why is it dafka that mitzvah? That's question number one. And question number two, it seems like the goyim are so bad. They are leaving the sukkah because it's hot. I'm sorry, that's halacha. The goyim, I'm not talking about the kicking part, but it's not such a bad thing. At the end of the day, a yid who sits in the sukkah and it's too hot, halachically, I checked it today, mitzvah potom in the sukkah. So it's just because of the kicking, lamaisa, what they did was, generally speaking, right. A yid would also leave the sukkah. Okay, the kicking, so they don't deserve anything. They tried, they build a sukkah. So that's a question. And my third question is a general question about sukkah. It's not about goyim. Why is it really that mitzvah potrim in the sukkah? I remember first time I heard about the idea of mitzvah potrim in the sukkah, I remember hearing it for the first time in my life, and I don't remember which age, and I found it very strange. Because, you're supposed to eat matzah even if you're mitzvah. People don't like matzah. I'm not about allergies and that. You're supposed to eat matzah. I don't like fasting on Yom Kippur. It's not fun. Mitzvah potter me fasting on Yom Kippur. How about that? I don't like the voice of the shofar. It's too not so. I love Beethoven better or Mozart. So what do you mean? You're supposed to become the mitzvahs. What's all of a sudden we got to this Western idea of, it's too hard for me. So you can't do it? Why? Why is it so? Why is sukkah mitzvah potter in the sukkah? This question needs to be addressed. I want to just pinpoint one more point as a question. It's interesting that going dafka sukkah is when they're being, so to speak, they're being measured against us on sukkahs, and they failed the mitzvah of sukkah so terribly, and that will be the final punishment. Even sukkah didn't manage, get out of my sight. Interesting, because actually on sukkahs is when the goyim are invited to join us in a way. In Beis HaMikdash, the 70 oxen, the 70 parim were brought for the goyim. And unbelievably, says the Netziv, I checked it again today just to make sure it's still there. The Netziv says in Parshas Emor, in the Parsha of the Shivim Porim, he says Goyim would actually come to the Beis HaMikdash in the times of Shlomo, and they would stand over the Korban, as halachically it's required. And that's why Koheles, which is read during Sukkot, Koheles is when you read Sukkot, Koheles only mentions name Elokim, never mentions Shem Yud Ke Vav Ke. Why? Yud Ke Vav Ke is Hashem's private the Tzorchamim, true, and it's also the way, I shouldn't say his private personal name, but it's Hashem's Shem Proti, the way he relates to us. We call Hashem Hashem. Elokim is more of a general name. How do you translate to English Hashem hu Elokim? Hashem is the God. Hashem, there's no translation for Hashem. Yud-Kev-Vav-Kei. Elokim is God. There's Lahavdil Elohim Mecherim. So Elokim is the way that Goyim relate to him. That's why Koheles, Shlomo HaMelech, when he wrote Megillas Koheles, he keeps writing Elokim, 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 Kol HaNasai B'Mishpat, Elokim, Elokim, because Koheles has to be relatable for Goyim, because Goyim do belong in Sukkot. Very interesting. And Dafka in Sukkot, the day when they kind of belong and we bring them in, at that happy moment, we say, no, Hashem tests them, and they build the sukkah, and there's heat, and they kick it out, and they go. This year, because it's meant very much for many people in Torah anytime, I'd ask you to minimize with the questions, unless it's something very, very specific. Are you okay? Or also, because it's a more general name. It's the same idea. It's the same idea. It's a more general concept of ruling, of controlling. Mishpat, exactly. So let's start with the answers. Okay. There are two types of mitzvahs. Says the Ramchal, one mitzvah brought down by Rav Chaim Friedlander. One mitzvah is, most mitzvahs are mitzvahs. What's a mitzvah? Tel Chiloni, what's a mitzvah? An act or thought you do especially for God, for your belief in Torah and Hashem. Taking lulav, sukkah, shofar, tefillin, tzitzis, taras mishpocha. You do something or refrain from doing something, which had you been secular, you wouldn't have done, had you been a goy. You're doing something, actual, physical or mental for the sake of Hashem, and that's it. Many times we make a bracha. How much kavanah should you have when you make a mitzvah? That's a huge halachic issue. We're not going into it, but it's a question. In other words, the Gemara will tell you, in Rosh Hashanah Kafches, if I'm not mistaken, in second parak of brachas, mitzvahs tzrichas kavanah and tzrichas kavanah. It's a debate. Some people say that a mitzvah, even if you don't have a kavanah, the mere act has importance of its own. We're not entering that area now, but a mitzvah is an act which you may not have kavanah. As opposed to what? As opposed to B'chol Dorochecho Do'ehu. What's B'chol Dorochecho Do'ehu? Mentions lots also in Hasidic Sfarim, and not only. If you eat, eating is not a mitzvah. The worst goy also eats. But if you eat the same food of the goy, you happen to share the same kind of, you both like, I don't know, licorice. You both like brown bread. Licorice is unhealthy. You both like good brown bread. You and chun chan chun. If you eat it l'shem shemaim, you made the regular act into a mitzvah. It's not a mitzvah per se. It depends on your kavanah. The mitzvah of sleeping, I'm not joking, you sleep in bed in order to serve Hashem. When you sleep during the day, it's not so poshut you're allowed to sleep during the day, more than 3 minutes or half an hour or 3 hours. If you sleep l'shem shemaim, that's okay. Say to yourself, I'm not going to sleep half an hour, not because I'm some batlan, because really I want to do it l'shem shemaim. Then the sleep is also a mitzvah. To an extent, where is Sukkah standing in that spectrum? Where is Sukkah? Very interesting halacha regarding Sukkah. The very, very, very beginning of Masechta Sukkah, the Gemara says, the Mishnah already says, explained by the Gemara, Sukkah cannot be higher than 20 amas. 20 amas is like very tall, 10 meters high. And why can't it be very, very tall? There are three reasons. Reason number one, leman yedu doroseichem. When you're in the sukkah, you have to be aware of the fact that you are in the sukkah. If the schach is so high, you enter the sukkah, you see a regular building, regular house, you're not aware of being in the sukkah, of your presence in the sukkah, then it's considered as not a mitzvah. Meaning, sukkah, what is it that you do in the sukkah? All that we're going to elaborate. In the sukkah, what do? Shulchan Aruch says, Yoshev, Yoshen, Oichel, V'shotzu, Metayel. What's Metayel? Metayel literally means not to take a walk like in modern Hebrew. No, it doesn't mean Letayel. I'm a big modern Hebrew speaker. Letayel in halacha does mean to take, how much can you take a walk in a sukkah? It's 7 tefachim. Tiyul, where are you going tiyul? To Burma. Elamai, Letayel means to spend time. Letayel in the Gemara now means to shoot the breeze. Yeah, as much as we don't like batala, just spending time, relaxing, reading your newspaper, whatever, doing that in the sukkah is a mitzvah. Wow. Which means sukkah is okay, is a mitzvah of not doing anything special. You're just living, this what you've been doing in your living room, you're doing in the sukkah. So what's the difference? You have to be aware, you have to have kavanah. I'm doing this for Sukkah. Sukkah and some other mitzvahs, the kavanah is more important. Mishnah Berurah talks about that too. You have to have awareness, I'm in the Sukkah, and I'm doing this l'shem shamayim. It's somewhere between, let's say, shofar, which is a complete mitzvah, or eating l'shem mitzvah. It's somewhere in the middle. It's a mitzvah, but the kavanah is very important. Because if you don't have kavanah, some goyim, I was once in Spain, they had a sukkah. We went there we were driving. We saw like a place. It looked like it was actually a kosher sukkah. It was like something like like a gas station, petrol station, we call it in England, yeah. And outside they had like an awning, and I thought, wow, that happens to be a kosher sukkah. And all the Spanish go and they sit there drinking the beer. So if you're in sukkahs, you don't have kavanah, you sound like a Spanish guy. The idea of sukkah is to have kavanah. I'm now in the sukkah, so whatever I'm doing in the sukkah is a mitzvah. Now, having said that, okay, that's why This is the mitzvah which will be chosen by Hashem to test the goyim. Now it's very, very, one of the questions already now is very well answered. Why? When the goyim invented Thomas Edison, I don't know, invented the light bulb. Why did he do it? Well, really, it was in order that in Ponevezh and Mir and Lakewood and Ger and Bells, they would learn all night long, right? And Leil Shavuos. That's why we have electricity in the world. Was that his intention? I don't think so. The whole business of Hashem, all this tension, lost love between Hashem and the Goyim is, what was your intention? Oh, so now you know what? Hashem in his in his mercy is giving them a mitzvah which is all about intention. And not giving you a mitzvah of shofar. You're out of that anyways. You claim you already did the mitzvah of what? Of b'chol derech echadeh. We did something and it came out that the electricity that we invented was for Eden. But it wasn't your kavano. So the missing piece of puzzle you now have to fill in is what? Kavano. I'll give you a mitzvah called Sukkah. And that mitzvah, the idea is, it's all about kavana. Go to the sukkah, sleep, eat, drink, and watch a kosher TV. In the times of Mashiach, we only have kosher, yeah? Watch a kosher internet, do whatever you want, schmooze to your rabbits in the goite, whatever, and elamai, do it, l'shem, shamayim. So now you'll fill in that gap. Isn't it a great deal for the goyim? What comes next is going to get very, very hot on purpose. The real test is coming. And then they're leaving. Oh, that gets us to the second part of the shir. Now, but before that, why is the Gemara pointing out that the sukkah is ein b'chesron kis? Yeah, why is that relevant? We just explained the point of the sukkah. It's a mitzvah, right? What do you do? Well, ein b'chesron kis. Ein b'chesron, yeah, you just live there, have the right kavanah. Why do we have to say that sukkah doesn't cost money? And secondly, people will tell me sarcastically when I usually give this Gemara over, they say, Sukkah is very expensive. The schach, the decorations. So first of all, Sukkah, this is a bit of we're taking a tiny bit of going in a tangent for 2 minutes, but it's a very nice idea here. First of all, Sukkah is not expensive. Meikar Adin, Sukkah is called what? Psolis Goren Vayekev. You can take it from the refuse of Goren Vayekev. Psolis can be taken from branches from the street. You don't have to pay. I mean, we don't, but I'm saying Meikar Adin Sukkah. Actually, the word psolis, not a very complimentary word. It's a psolit means refuse. You can even take the refuse and put it on the top. You know, they talk about in Chassidus and Sukkah. You take the low thing, make it very high. But the other idea is Sukkah really doesn't have to cost you anything, because Sukkah and lulav are two opposites. Says the Gemara in Sukkah Chav Zayin Amud Beis. Sukkah is something that the entire Klal Yisrael can sit in one sukkah. Kol ezrach b'Yisrael yeshu b'sukkos. Sukkah can be, halachically, this is halacha, not hashkafa. Sukkah can be endless mitzad the width, halachically. Some billionaire from, I don't know, from Satmar Chassid in America, or some, I don't know, very, very rich guy, wants to build a sukkah of, I don't know, 50 kilometers each direction. Bevakasha, great. Why? Because the whole of Klal Yisrael can be invited. You can be invited by other people. Just the opposite of lulav. Lulav, what's all the nerves about lulav? You have one lulav. Used to be in Eastern Europe, I don't know, by Sfardim. Only the rabbi had a good kosher lulav and esrog. They didn't have these things growing there. Definitely not lulav or esrog. And the rav would have to be makne to the other yidden. And that was a whole huge halachic debate, because it says lochen. The lulav has to be yours, not your friends. You have to have your own lulav. Lulav is a very personal mitzvah. It's like my sword. Lulav is like a sword, it says in Medrash. It's my personal connection with Hashem. It's me, and the sukkah is not me. Sukkah is something that's all-inclusive. It doesn't cost you anything, because lechatchila can be hosted by other people. And they don't have to pay extra for you either. There's like space for everyone. That's the idea of sukkah and b'chesron kis. But there's more. There's more depth. Ein b'chesron kis really doesn't just mean, says Friedland there, doesn't just mean it doesn't cost you money. Even if your sukkah cost you, you bought the fanciest schach from the most expensive sukkah store in I don't know where, yeah? I don't know, every meter, 300 shekels, yeah? Even so, ein b'chesron kis means you're not missing anything. What does it mean? As we said before. When you listen to shofar, you are spending time which another person at that time would have done something else, would have worked. You are spending time listening to the shofar. You're spending time and effort putting on tefillin, these black boxes in a secular point of view, are not serving you for anything, right? You're taking from yourself, giving to Hashem extra time, extra money, extra effort, extra whatever. Sukkah is just the opposite. It's the one mitzvah in the Torah. Some people say it's also Shabbos. I don't like whatever. Shabbos is different. Sukkah is a mitzvah that you don't have to do anything, and it's all a mitzvah, as we said before. Ein b'chesron kis. The mitzvah is sit down, drink your coffee, eat your cake, schmooze to your wife, whatever. Look at the computer. Hopefully, learn Torah. Yeah, I'm not saying obviously. Whatever you do in the sukkah is a mitzvah. Just being there, being yourself, is a mitzvah. That's why mitztayer is potter min sukkah. Why is mitztayer potter min sukkah? Mitztayer potter min sukkah because it says ke'en to do, teshvu ke'en to do. You have to live in the sukkah the same way you live in the house. If you're mitztayer in the sukkah because it's too hot, because our flies would drive you crazy. I'm not giving the halachas now. Ask your rabbi. I'm talking in general because it's annoying in a way that indoors would be nice and cool and no flies and no mishigas and no whatever. Then you are missing the point. The idea of sukkah is just live normally, comfortably, the way you would have lived at home. Just do it in the sukkah. Now why is that so? Why is sukkah the one mitzvah in the Torah which has this very interesting idea? Why is it so? Why is sukkah the mitzvah that you just live, relax, bring your favorite magazine, recliner, air condition, live it up, luxury? Why dafka sukkah? Why don't you have that mitzvah in Chanukah or any other time of year? I'll tell you why. Now listen to the which I think is in a way a very pivotal point in this year. Which day of the year is the opposite of Sukkot? The Day of Atonement. We just spent a day, which is the contrast, the stark, clear, diametrically opposed contrast to Sukkot. On Yom Kippur, you don't eat, you sleep, but hardly. You stand there with the kittel, who is thinking of a tashmi shamita or rechitza or sicha, not even in your mind, yeah? In other words, you are giving from yourself. You are sacrificing yourself like Avraham Avinu sacrificed Yitzchak. You're sacrificing and giving from yourself to Hashem. You're giving up everything. You are the opposite of relaxing and just being. I'm not being myself. I'm getting fully out of my comfort zone, not eating, not drinking. I'm trying to be like a malach. You don't even go to be excused. You don't, you hardly, because there's nothing. I'm sorry to go into details, but you're in a completely different sphere. The famous Kotzker said, 2 days a year, I wouldn't have fasted, even if he wouldn't have said it in the Torah. On Tisha B'Av, who wants to eat? And Yom Kippur, who needs to eat? Out of the question. I have a neighbor, she's a Russian American, Balas a very spiritual person. She said their brother was secular completely for all these years in Russia and America, and he came to their community in Eish Kodesh in America. He spent a very, very spiritual Yom Kippur with all the singing and the tshuva, and they wanted to eat at the end after the time. He said, I don't need that. I don't want to eat. He was so in such a high, he didn't feel like eating b'chlal for such transformation. After giving everything, dedicating and giving and sacrificing from ourselves to Hashem Yom Kippur, comes Sukkot, just the opposite. We are so worked out. We worked so hard. We got so close to Hashem. You know what's the biggest fun for us now in our new pure matzav? To just be with Hashem. The Sukkah is the house of Hashem, and being there is just fun. Yeah? What happens to a teenager after a whole year of tidying her room? She hates tidying her room. It's a catastrophe by her, disaster. She tidied the room for a whole year. She's so clean and she's tidy and the room is tidy. She begins to like the tidy room. And her mother tells her, wow, we're going now to an amazing, unbelievable trip in Disney World. Wow. So she goes to a Yom Kef. You know what's Yom Kef? Yom Kef, a day of fun day. Not Sunday. In Chutzah, it's Sunday, it's fun day, yeah? You're going on a day of fun in the amusement park. That's Sukkot. Sukkot is our amusement day with Daddy, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, our King. This is just having fun. We feel so close to him. After we worked hard to get near him, to get close to him, now we don't have to do anything except for just being there, basking in his light. Zman Simchoseinu. That's why Sukkot, one of the many reasons why Sukkot is Zman Simchoseinu. We're so happy. We don't have to do anything extra. Just being in the presence of Daddy, having just his attention, these busy parents, this high fly career person never has time for his child, and the other children, one day, I'm dedicating just for you. Wow, that's a fun day with daddy. We're having a fun week with daddy in the sukkah after working hard, of getting close to him, doing whatever he wants, and doing everything for him. Now we've arrived there. This is why we are, if we leave the sukkah, makes sense. Why do we leave the sukkah? It's style. It's hot. It's full of mosquitoes. By the way, halachically, it's not halacha here again. Halachically, you can only leave the sukkah if indoors is better. If you have the same problem in the sukkah and in the house, you shouldn't leave the sukkah. But if in the sukkah it gets scorching hot and you can't get hold of any fans or it doesn't help, go home. Where? To the air conditioned house. And if you stay in the sukkah, says Mishnah Buri, not mekam mitzvah. The mitzvah is not to sacrifice. That's what mitzvah partum in the sukkah, as opposed to Pesach. Pesach, you're supposed to sacrifice from yourself. Give something from yourself to the one who liberated you and eat the matzah. If you don't like it, tough. But here, the old is having fun. I'm enjoying myself with daddy. The father wouldn't take his son that goes to the amusement park to a ride that the son doesn't like, right? It's suffering for him. Hashem wants us to enjoy ourselves in his presence, to be normal, be ourselves. What happens to the goyim? The goyim, that's a completely different story. That's a completely different story. Let me just get it right. Okay, fine. What happened before the goyim? Leave the goyim alone for a minute. When you leave your sukkah, because let's say it's raining, started drizzling now. Hope everything is fine. Let's say chas v'shalom, it started raining in sukkahs. Chas v'shalom, it happens a lot. In England, I guess even more. What happens if it starts raining? You leave the sukkah. Do you leave the sukkah b'shirim or b'mecholos? You leave the sukkah singing and dancing? No. Halachically, says the Ramah. The Ramah says it at the end of Siman Taf Resh Lamed Tes Zayin. Yeah, he says that. Yeah, Taf Resh Lamed Tes. Ramah Taf Resh Lamed Tes. You have to leave the sukkah in a very humble, subdued, sad way. You're not happy with the fact that it started raining in the middle of the amusement park, in the middle of your fun week with daddy. Or the way the Mishnah describes it, you're like a slave, you're like an eved, a servant, who feels very, very privileged to be in the presence of his master, and the master spills the water over the eved, because of whichever reason is discontent with him, therefore, you have to feel, we deserve it. We're not happy to leave the sukkah. We'd love to have fun with our father or our master, or to serve a master, get to know him better. Our plans, like a little child disappointed, right? Have you seen disappointed children? It's not easy. Yeah, I was planning a whole, day trip, and here, what happened in the middle? The Goyim is a completely different story. The Gemara says in Rosh Hashanah Daf Daled, and here I'm coming to current events. What happens if a person says, I'm giving tzedakah, and the reason I'm giving tzedakah to the poor, the needy, one of the 15,000 organizations that exist in Klal Yisrael, Baruch Hashem. I didn't say 15,000 on purpose. I mean, whatever. I'm sure. Yeah, there are many. And there are many people who are amazing and give tzedakah. And that person in particular says, I'm giving tzedakah because my son is ill, is sick, and I want him to get better. So then says the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah Daf Daled, it seems like he's in it for himself. It seems like he's a wheeler dealer. I'm giving tzedakah, so my son should be. Don't you care about the poor people, about the mitzvah? Well, says the Gemara, that he's a tzaddik gomor. Why? Let's see why. If a goy does the same, says the Gemara gives an example of a king that went off the derech. It was a goyish king who was a tzaddik, and then he hichmitz, he soured. I mean, within his goyish values, he got worse, and he gave tzedakah just for his own interest. When a goy gives tzedakah just for his own interest, he's not a tzaddik. It's not worth anything at all. It has no value if he gives tzedakah for self-interest. Why? Says the Gemara, because the Yid, even if his son will chas v'shalom die, he would not regret the mitzvah. That's the assumption. And if it's otherwise, then that's bad news. The assumption is, and that's the way it should be, that even if you give tzedakah to whoever, Chazdei Nomi, Chazdei Shmuel, whoever, even if your son, Chalila, even if whatever self-interest you have in there will not be fulfilled, you'll still be happy that you fulfilled the mitzvah. A goy would say, no, what's in it for me? And here is the stark difference between the goyim and the Klal Yisrael. When the guy sits in the sukkah, he's not enjoying himself with daddy in the amusement park, not at all. The sukkah that he's building is just in order to, after years of horrible behavior, of thousands of years of galus, of torturing Klal Yisrael, of, starting Bed Hashkafas, of Davidovich told us a very nice idea about the Seir Lazazel. We just had Yom Kippur not that long ago, right? Why do we throw all the Averas on the head of the Seir Lazazel? What does Seir mean? What's the word Seir? Anybody can help me with English? A goat, Shepsel, right? Shepsel is a nice English word. Seir also means Esav. The fault of the Averas, we only do Averas because we're influenced by Seir. Seir is the Yetzer Hara represented by the Goyim. Yeah, you see how Jews behave. It's bad behavior because they copycat the Goyim at the end of the day, one way or the other. Or Goyish mindset, or Goyish psychology, or Goyish ideas about family life, or whatever that is, your parenting, whatever that is. Yeah, that's the idea. So now, after all these years, the Goyim are coming and they want to get a bite. They want to wheel and deal. The Goyim say, for them sitting in the sukkah, just a way to, what's in it for me? Once the sun is out, halachically, of course they're not supposed to be there anymore, but they kick the sukkah. They kick it because they never really liked being there. Because for them to bask in the light of Hashem, what does it mean to bask in the light of Hashem? They have no Yom Kippur. They have just their own self-interest. And I actually heard it once, B'Shem, one of the Rabbanim of Arachim. I once went to, he spoke in an event that I was participating in, and he said that idol worshippers, he based himself, I think, on Goyish sources, I think, is one of these very learned rabbis, all these things. And he said, by the idol worshippers, why do they dance and sing and sacrifice to the God of the wind and the God of the sun and the God of the rain? Because they want to get good rain. They're trying to get something from Hashem, not from Hashem. In the good case, it's an Hashem, yeah? In the bad case, they want to get something out of it. It's always about self-interest. Mimela, what happens next? If the sun is too scorching and too hot, they kick it. That's the difference between us and them. Now, the honest truth is that Sukkah, how is Sukkah called in the Torah? Lekachtem lachem b'yom ha-rishon. There are a few droshes and midrashim in the Gemara. What does Rishon mean? Rishon lecheshbon avonos. It says all the averos between Yom Kippur and Sukkot, whatever that means, are not really averos because we're busy with mitzvah of buying daled minim, building the sukkah. The first day, there's something very first, very primal, very fresh, new start about Sukkot. Sukkot is the first mitzvah we're mekayim, which is not a daily mitzvah. It's the first Yom Tov we have after Yom Kippur. And that should set the tone for us for the entire year. Meaning, just like we've established now that Sukkot is a day, 7 days, in which we just enjoy the mitzvah, Sukkot is not a means to an end. Sukkah is what? Is just having fun, being with Hashem. That's the way you should feel, and we should all feel, when we put on tefillin and talis and give tzedakah and listen to shofar and do anything else. The mitzvahs should not be a way to get something from Hashem. This is fun itself. And I'm reading to you, we all know the famous line from Pirkei Avos, Al tiyu kavodim em shamim shemesarav el manas lekabel pras, ela v'chulei shelo el manas lekabel pras. Don't serve Hashem for the prize, for the trophy, for the gain, for the profit, not even olam haba. Wow. That shouldn't be your main reason. Be mekayim the mitzvahs for a totally different reason. That Gemara is also brought down in the Dozor Daf Yites Amud Aleph. Says Rashi, listen to the beautiful words of Rashi of the Dozor Zayin. Yehi libcha imoy. Your heart should be with Hashem. Loimar, you should say, afilu ein soifi lekabel sachar. Wow. Even if I will not get schar ne'olam haba for the mitzvah, oyevan is boy. I love my Creator, the chofetz b'mitzvosov, and I want His mitzvahs. This is a level we should all aspire to have. This is something that we're missing it nowadays. I'm talking about myself included. I can't talk about other people. And we see that also.
Where's the sun for mitzvah?
Schar mitzvah mitzvah, exactly.
Where is
There you are. Same thing. Schar mitzvah mitzvah means I love doing mitzvah so much. Would a parent tell his child, if you go to the amusement park, then as a prize I'll get you a candy? What do you mean? Going to the amusement park is the fun. That is it. It doesn't have to get a prize for that, right? Schar mitzvah mitzvah. You behave yourself nicely in the amusement park, you'll get to Disney World, a nicer place, Euro Disney, Japan Disney, whatever.
where do we
Nice.
learn that?
What?
Where do we learn
Where does it say Schar mitzvah mitzvah Schar vera? Oopa, you got me there. Also, no, what?
that?
It's in Pirkei Avos also. Yeah, Pirkei Avos. No, but the other one is also in the Vedazar.
Mhm.
And here I have a little bit. I only have 3 minutes for soapboxing. Lucky you. So I'll tell you where we're holding nowadays. So Baruch Hashem, Klal Yisrael is an amazing and I'm sure people do a lot of things Hashem Shemaim. We just have to be aware. We have to be aware as adults, the way we're mechanech our children, our grandchildren, our society, and ourselves, that sometimes we can veer a little bit too much without noticing to the loy lishma kind of side. For example, you sometimes see all these notices in the streets, about giving tzedakah. Give tzedakah, so your daughter should be accepted to seminary. You give tzedakah, so you should have a nicer house. Give tzedakah, so nothing bad will happen to you. It got so ironic that I went to a certain city, I won't say where, that all these advertisements about, all these good things going to happen to you, and they didn't even write what's the purpose of the tzedakah. It got so into wheeling dealing, it got such a business, it got to such a point that the whole tzedakah is only in order to, I'm kind of trying to be marviach something, it's all give and take, it's all in it for me. That's not the Jewish way. I'll give you another example. I was very put off when a person told me at the beginning of Leila Seder, a relative told me, oh, now it's Leila Seder. Leila Seder, we're sitting at Leila Seder. That's very nice. One of the nicest evenings by the life of any normal believing Jew, right? Everyone celebrates Leila Seder, even secular Jews. What's Leila Seder for you? Since I'm a kid till today, it's a night of magic. It's all the Muna, it's magic, it's all the customs, it's all the new dishes, it's just amazing. And then, somebody just at the very beginning of Leila Seder, a person, whatever, he quoted a Rebbitzin who said, now there's Leila Seder, now we can ask Hashem for whatever we want. Money, health, what? Even if it's true, are you for real? Would you sit with your wife for a nice romantic evening and only in order to get something from her? What kind of relationship is that? I checked afterwards in Notzar Chochma, that, so to speak, Rebbitzin, she's very famous in the Israeli scene. She had a point. It says in Sefer Chasidus, maybe two or three from what I've seen, not in the Litvish world, which I belong to. I belong to all Klal Yisrael, but I haven't seen. They say that in certain moments, like Vanitzak, in certain moments of Leila Seder, you can ask Hashem for Kirvas Elokim, for other ways to serve Hashem. But to sit there at the beginning of Leila Seder, which is supposed to be a night of Emunah, a night of life, and try to, again, that's what this person saw in a video the day before, now is another time to chap a crumb from a Kodesh Baruch Hu? Is that what we're all about? Where are we getting? Where are we heading at? And this is happening. It's happening in society. I'm not Godel here to start warning and start to be a whistleblower. We have to be aware. When we hear these messages, we have to remind people our lives should be, in a way, one long Sukkot holiday. And Sukkot, you're not there for yourself. In a way, you are. It's all one. In other words, in Sukkot, you are there for just enjoying being with Hashem. And that's the way it should be throughout the year. Putting tefillin is not physical fun, so try and fine-tune yourself to be a better Jew that enjoys the spiritual experience of tefillin, that loves to serve Hashem. Maybe it's a lofty darga, but at least we have to aim towards there. Try. Not everything has to be give and take. V'chule v'chule, asher yotzar. Everybody says asher yotzar nicely with kavana, and that's a way to protect you from being sick. So it's a shield from getting sick. It's true. It says it in many places I've seen, but obviously it shouldn't be the main idea. First of all, say thank you. Say thank you to Hashem. You're only saying thank you in order to get more from a Kodesh Baruch Hu. One of the people who talk against it, like I was saying now, is the Yanuka. He's a very great person, Kayadua. He also says people shouldn't try and just, milk a Kodesh Baruch Hu all the time. You should give Hashem. Don't try to get from Hashem all the time. That's the difference between us and idol worshippers. May we be zoiche to be real Yidden, to enjoy our avodas Hashem, enjoy our mitzvahs as of themselves, and Be'ezras Hashem will be able to sit very soon in Sukkot Or Shel V'Yoson. Thank you very, very much. Atzlacha uvrocha.